For the beauty of the earth, this spinning blue-green ball, yes, Gaia, mother of everything, we walk gently across your back to come together again in this place, to remember how we can live, to remember who we are, to create how we will be. Gaia, our home, the lap in which we live, welcome us. Good morning. Welcome to Cross Street Chapel's Sunday service. I'm grateful for your presence here, both in person as well as online. A very happy Mother's Day and Mothering Sunday to all of you. That will be our, I was going to say our theme, but our focus, and especially when we get to the point where I witcher on a bit for a few minutes on a subject of my choosing. And today, most appropriately felt important to discuss mothering and mothers. Welcome as well to George, who is playing for us today. We're very grateful for you being here and for the music that you're going to provide. We have forms which you can fill in afterwards. There's pens in the retiring collection dish if you find yourself without a pen. And if you are listening online, there will be a link sent out tomorrow on the mailing list for an online form that you can access, provided you've watched the service. And I hope that whatever it is that has brought you here today, whether it be a space for tears and sadness, for joy and laughter, perhaps just to come and hear a few words of wisdom, or maybe a chance to rest with the divine, whatever you have come seeking, I hope it will be found. We come into our time of worship with words. We started with Barbara Pescan, and we turn now to the Corrymeela community, which was founded in 1965 by Reverend Davey, along with John Morrow and Alex Watson, as an organization seeking to aid individuals and communities which suffered through the violence and polarization of the Northern Irish conflict. God, our Mother, we come to you as children. Be with us as we learn to see one another with new eyes, hear one another with new hearts, and treat one another in a new way. Amen. Please join with me in singing our first hymn in the Green Book, number 174, A Church is a Living Fellowship, hymn number 174.
A church is a living fellowship, more than a holy shrine, where people can share their hopes and fears, less of the yours and mine. Where bonded by trust we search for truth beyond the chains of creeds, and thoughts can aspire to shine with fire from all our deepest needs. Let's stretch out the open hand of love, conquer the fists of pain, divided no more by voices of war, breeze of our mindless state. We'll take all our building bricks of truth, take up the homes of life, a future to face the shame and disgrace in all our paths of strife. A church is a place of human trust, more than of brick and stone. Of love we will sing to make it bring in every joyous tone.
Thank you. Let us turn now to a time of prayer. Mother of us all, you are the hug that never ends, the strong support that reminds us that we are always welcome, the seat that is kept open with food for us in our time of need. Even when we fail to feel your supportive presence, you are there. May we find you working wonders in a fraught world, small miracles that grow like the mustard seed. May we cultivate the good that we find. May we turn our hearts as we would turn the earth to soften our hardness and give room for growth. May any wounds we receive be careful pruning that shapes and guides us through the challenges of life. And may we share the sun in a blessed community, seeing it shine over all May it reach further than our imaginations and touch even those whom we might call an enemy. May all who need it be hugged by you. Amen. And please recite with me your covenant, which we'll find in your order of worship and will appear online. We gather here in sacred fellowship to witness the fullness of our lives and all life, to hold and be held, tell stories and listen, to be renewed and renew the world. We speak with care and patience. We act with gentleness and compassion. We forgive each other and ourselves. In faith that we build beloved community, we renew our covenant today. Amen. Our first reading today comes from Judy Wells, entitled Honoring the Bouquet of Our Mothers. Today we pay homage to our mothers, the women who birthed us and watched us grow, wiped our noses and stuck plasters on our knees, and kept their fingers crossed that we would turn out all right. Some mothers are like Forsythia, spilling over the neighbor's fence, almost unbearably cheerful, energetic, and determinedly curious, insinuating themselves in our lives. Some mothers are like daisies by the side of the road, humble, perhaps a little frayed around the edges. Some mothers are like roses displayed on a trellis, lovely, sweet-smelling, sure of their favored place in our hearts. Some mothers are like thistles in a field, their sharpness wounding us as we try to get close. Some mothers are like violets coming up in the lawn, unassuming but tenderly loyal, always there regardless of how we take them for granted. Some mothers are like ivy on a brick wall, holding us too tightly, unwilling or unable to let go. Some mothers are like becks of peonies, bosomy, overdressed, embarrassing us with their lavishness and lipstick marks that they leave on our cheeks. Some mothers are like lilac bushes beside the kitchen door, welcoming, familiar, reminding us that we can always come home again. Living or dead, perfect or flawed, gorgeous or plain, they are our mothers, and they did the best they could. Our feelings about our mothers are probably as complex as any bouquet of flowers. Let us love them for what we can do, what we can love in them, and honor them the best we can, flawed as we are too. From them, we were given the gift of life. So let us say thank you, each in our own way, as we worship together this day. Honoring the Bouquet of Our Mothers by Judy Wells. Now you have a chance to share your joys, your sorrows, your trials, and your triumphs. If you want to share these publicly, please type them into the chat box. If you're online, I will read them out. If you're here in person, you can light a candle. And if you have a few words to say, please come to the microphone so those listening online will be able to participate as well. You're able to light a candle in silence. And as always, if you wish to hold your life in your heart, know that your presence here is enough. So I'll light a candle for the mothers that I know. I love you all. I'm going to say a special note to Catherine and to my mother back in Michigan.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to my mum, who I'm fortunate enough to be able to be seeing later today. Sorry, this is a bit of a tricky one. I'm not a mother myself, but that's not through choice. Unfortunately, I've experienced a number of miscarriages, and that's meant that I'm unfortunately not able to celebrate that great joy of being a parent. So also on this day, I'd like to give thanks to all the parents and mothers particularly who are out there doing a wonderful job, and also to spare a thought for the children that I might have had and who I hope are in heaven.
I'm thinking of all mothers everywhere. At this moment, I'm thinking of the mother cow, who, as a result of modern farming methods, is kept permanently pregnant. She has generally her calves, and always the male calf, removed at birth, leaving the poor mother desolate, anguished, distraught, and the calf taken away and shot or fattened in a crate for veal. I'm thinking of all mothers everywhere at this moment, especially animal mothers, and those we abuse like the cow.
I light that candle for all the mothers that are refugees, that have to look after their children, find a space to live, and keep their husbands going. I also wish that the good will continue to triumph over evil, and that the convulsions of this adolescent period in mankind is going through will lead to its maturity and the establishment of a permanent peace. Thank you.
From Adam, a candle for my mother, who cheered me up yesterday with a photo of her blossoming magnolia tree, which I gave her several years ago. And for all those joys and sorrows here spoken, and those that remain silently in our hearts. We come now to our second hymn, this time in the Purple Book, number 39, for the Splendor of Creation, hymn number 39. Our second reading is Love Abundant by the Reverend Alicia Ford. I lift my eyes up to the hills. From where will my help come? My help comes from love abundant. My help comes from the hills. My help, it comes from ancient mothers whose hearts beat in mine. It comes from the trees that sway and the breeze that sways them. My help comes from all that was and is and will ever be. I lift my eyes, hushed by the soothing touch of waves, caressing wounded shores, wounded souls. I lift my eyes to the horizon bathed by the hum of mothers and mothers' mothers cradling, gently rocking. I lift my voice, call of the sea, trees, sister moon, mother earth, my soul weeping, a symphony of life overflowing. I give myself. I, too, hum through every pore with every breath. I give myself, an extension of all that is, was, and ever will be. Love Abundant by Alicia Ford. So let us return now to a time of prayer with these words of Kathleen Rollens. Spirit of life, you have been a parent to us all. We enter into this time of silence and reflection with mixed emotions. This is Mother's Day, a day set aside to honor, celebrate, and in some cases, simply to reflect on those women who gave us birth. Some of us come to this day with joy, with strong and tender feelings for the women who have earned the right to be called mother. They not only gave us our lives, they are responsible for shaping our spirit. They have fed us, played with us, nurtured us, listened to us. They have given unselfishly to us. They have loved us unconditionally. If our mothers are still living, we make the extra effort to be in touch and find ways to give back a portion of the love which we have so abundantly received. If our mothers have died, we take time to cherish our memories of them. Memories which may flood our eyes with bittersweet tears of longing. We miss her, and we feel that loss even more acutely on this day, while also being grateful for her strength, her wisdom, and her beauty, and the gifts which she has passed on to us. For others, this day is not a time for celebration, but rather a time for reflection. Perhaps we cannot bring ourselves to buy that card, the one that waxes poetically about a mother's love or her presence in our lives. Rather, we may feel her absence through death or indifference. We may have complicated, difficult, and unhappy associations with mother. Instead, may we use this time to reflect on those who have mothered us, the women in our lives who have been shown their love for us, whether through motherhood or mentoring. Those, though gentle, truth-telling, loving, wise, whimsical women who have served as our teachers, our mentors, our guides, our friends. And on this Mothering Day, may we remember the great Mother that sustains us, whose body is the very substance of our existence, the very ground we walk upon, the very source of our being. From whatever place of the Spirit we come this morning, let us once again enter into a time of silence, knowing that it is in silence where great things fashion themselves. And so we enter into a period of reflection, meditation, contemplation, and personal prayer. Thank you, George. We come now to our next hymn. We return to the Green Book, number 133, the great Quaker song, How Can I Keep From Singing? Hymn number 133. Mothers have a tough time of it. We're familiar, I'm sure, with the tropes and the stereotypes. The image of someone lying on the psychologist's couch, and what's the question that they're always asked? Tell me about your mother. It's also hard to watch those old Disney classics or to recall the stories of the Brothers Grimm and their details of the evil stepmother and her nefarious ways. We've also likely heard in our lifetime some collection of mother-in-law jokes. Unfair, in my experience. And it's not just mothers, it's the whole relationship of motherhood. Children who are too distant from their mothers will be considered uncaring. Think of all that sacrifice that they did for you. And men, particularly who are too close to the mothers, are called mama's boys. So yes, there is a tightrope that many navigate when it comes to motherhood. You don't have to dive deep into the cultural landscape to see just how brutally one treats these relationships and these people. Like someone uprooting a garden without concern for rose nor weed. We know, as Judy Wells spoke of it, that mothers and relationships are dynamic and complex. Like flowers, we might appreciate their individual beauty, their fragrance, or their practicality. We might acknowledge that mothers are people. It's an astonishing fact, but it's true. People with their own identity and their own interests and their own lives beyond that title of mother. I know a few mothers, so I feel able to claim this. And of course, it's not just Mother's Day, but in a historic and a formal sense, it is Mothering Sunday. And I always am approached by people who make sure that I am to speak of it as Mothering Sunday in that historic British sense. A holiday, a reprieve halfway through Lent, where women who worked in stately houses could have the day off to visit their mothers. A holy day, where people would forsake their home congregations to go and meet in the mother church in the area. No matter the relationship that we have with our mothers, as I said, they're complex and with a healthy measure of nuance, we can still turn to this historic nature of today and appreciate its themes of journey, of return, and respite. A hero's quest that brings us back home, perhaps as eager as the prodigal son to proclaim, "I'm home," only to be told, "Wipe your shoes." Mothering Sunday. Mothering, much like mothers and motherhood, gets a bit of grief too. You look up definitions of mother as a verb, and you get all these beautiful descriptions of treating someone with kindness and affection, that recognition of protecting that person from harm or difficulty. That's how Cambridge defines the verb mother. It's beautiful, isn't it? It fills me with joy, with that acknowledgement of the blessings that I received in childhood, and what I hope for my own son and other children as they grow up. It's a beautiful sentiment. That's looking at the definition. So let's look at the example sentence that Cambridge provides. Leave me alone. I don't need to be mothered. I feel for mothers, I really do. You look at that definition and you see good things, and then you see it twisted and turned against itself when used in a sentence. The pure form broken by reality. You see the ideal and how it's manifested. You dream, and in that dream it's perfect, but then you wake up and you are in the world that you occupy. Treating people with kindness and protection, but heaven help us if we mother someone. We do mother, and we do need to be mothered, at least some of the time. If we're talking about being cared for, being treated with kindness, then yes, it is an absolute must. When it feels at times like the world is fast falling apart, then absolutely, we need more mothers. We need motherhood to be honored, to be recognized as a good thing, to not be a pejorative or the butt of a joke. We need more mothers, and all may apply. Demonstrating love, care, kindness, tenderness, protection for another is not restricted to any one group. It is not dependent upon biological capacity. All can exhibit these qualities. Think back now to when you were wanting for love. Was it fulfilled? Who fulfilled it? Perhaps at times it was, yes, your mother. But as I said at the start, mothers contain multitudes. So maybe, just maybe, you can recall being mothered by another. Mothers contain multitudes, and the multitudes contain mothers. I've lived here now for 16 years, and there have been times when I have needed an embrace, a hug, comfort, and support. I've needed wisdom. I've needed lots of wisdom. You laughed a bit too quickly. A gentle push in the right direction. I can think of all who have provided these over the years, and I can think of them as my team of mothers. And returning to that original sentiment that when I talked about mothers bearing the brunt of society, I wanted to make sure that I got the collective noun correct. The internet told me that a group of mothers is called a consternation. Consternation. So again, we have a lot of work cut out for us. Perhaps now that I am a bit longer in the tooth, there may have even been times when I have occupied that position of mother. One of my earliest lessons in British culture was being mother by serving up the tea, a bit of refreshment that required the knowledge and of the personal preferences of milk and sugar, milk no sugar, 2 sugars please as it comes, and a black coffee. But seriously, it presents a relatable image of motherhood, providing sustenance tailored to the individuals so that the community can carry on. I hope in my dealings with people that I can appreciate what they need at any given moment and provide whatever care I have that will help. Judy Wells spoke of that bouquet of mothers. Flowers need watering. So I hope that we can have a daily watering, a rainfall that knows the individual needs of each flower. Amen. A few notices before we sing our final hymn and conclude our service. If you're in need of pastoral care, please write to me at minister@crossstreetchapel.org.uk or speak with me if you're here in person. You can write as well if you wish to provide a reading. We also have our sign-up sheets, and thanks to Joe for printing off the next tranche of 3 months. So if you're interested in greeting, in providing flowers, reading, as I said, giving teas or coffees, or assisting with the IT, all the help is needed and appreciated. And we now have several more months worth of slots for you to fill in. And I know IT always sounds a bit fraught with peril, but I tried to make a point. Emma's nodding that it's going well today. Thank you. If you've just joined us, you can join our mailing list, again, by writing to me at minister@crossstreetchapel.org.uk or speaking with me after the service. We have tea and coffee after today's service, and looking at 27th, it says it is blank. Do we have someone to help with the tea and coffee? Thank you, Joe. We're grateful for any donations that can assist the mission of our chapel. You're able to donate online at tinyurl.com/crossstreetdonate, or you can email me about setting up a standing order. If you're here in person, we have a retiring collection along with envelopes for gift aid. And if you wish to be a regular giver, we can either set up a standing order, or you can become part of our envelope scheme, where you have a weekly envelope and you don't have to fill one in each time. And then on the back of your order of worship, you have a huge list of everything happening through April and May. I'm afraid to say Faith in Life has been canceled today due to a COVID contact for the leader, William. So our thoughts and prayers go to him and his loved ones. Are there any announcements from the congregation? Let us then sing our final hymn in the Purple Book, number 68, I Dream of a Church, hymn number 68.
As she walks in her rapture, enjoying her
Thank you, George, for the music. Thank you, Sonia, for the flowers. Thank you, Anna, for greeting. Emma for the IT. Joe for the tea and coffee. Robin and Catherine for helping to set up. and my apologies if there's anyone else that I've left off. Thank you to all of you. And genuinely, thank you. I'm getting there. Thank you to all of you for creating and sharing worship today. We close with the words of Gauri Sawant. You don't have to be a biological mother to mother a child. Amen. I can take them.
Always.
Where do you put your bit on? I see the little below.